in
Yeah.
real time.
So let's just watch Glow the interviews live and just
No, I
comment on how weird
cannot.
it is.
I cannot do it again. I can't do it again.
Oh
I
my
will say I
god.
looked up to be like, all right, I got to be like 60% of the way through, and I was like 30. I was like, oh
Yep.
boy.
That's the exact time I looked up, and then I looked up again at 50 minutes,
Mm.
110, 120, and then
120 is when it ended, so hopefully
Yeah.
you didn't watch
So
more
it's
than
counting down. Like, all right, we got 9 minutes left.
50 and 110 were
kept
definitely
pausing it. Oh god. Glow the interviews on Tubi. It's episode 324 of Nation of Conversation. I'm here with Wally and Bill. Doesn't matter what number it is. I picked this not good thing. We love the show Glow.
Yeah, we've done a lot of Glow on this show.
Done a lot of Glow talk. Yeah. We've done the Glow documentary. We've done the Glow Netflix series every episode.
Yeah.
We've done a lot of Glow talk, so I thought it would be fun to. On paper, this sounded fun. New interviews about 3? Glow. Yes, we did every season of Glow. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, we did every season of the Netflix Glow. I think Glow, like the actual show, is now on Tubi. So maybe someday we can do that.
Like the old ones?
Yeah, like the original. I think that's on there. I'm not totally sure.
I'll take a look. Let's see.
I think that's on there. The documentaries are both on there. There's 2 documentaries.
There's a documentary. There's this new interviews thing,
and then there's
isn't
there?
Classic wrestling documentary. Yeah. No.
I thought there was a third, but
no,
maybe
I don't
I'm wrong.
I don't see the show itself, unless they don't actually just go by.
Anyway, we talked about Glow almost every year, and it was a super bummer when the Netflix show was canceled last year. I think.
Yeah, it was like a COVID. Like, who cares?
It's not worth doing it. Yeah, it's a good show. They did kind of end it in season 3, sort of. I can't remember what was still out there in season 3 that we had.
I think they were moving to like do it like live shows or something. I don't remember.
Yeah. On tour? Were they going on tour?
I think they were supposed to start going on tour.
Betty was like in charge.
His the announcer guy's
that was in season
boyfriend
2, wasn't it though?
I have no idea. I literally can't remember season 3.
But the show got canceled, but they had done something to breathe new life into it. Because they had the series finale was their big thing.
But they moved to Vegas.
Somebody else picked them up. Yeah.
They moved to Vegas. Right. And that was the whole thing was it was a stage show, not a TV show anymore. So they were trying to get picked up.
Right.
And they did get picked up. Can't remember. But Allison Brie fucked it all up with Mark Maron, right? Is that what it was? She finally, I can't remember now. Anyway, Glow. We're super interested in Glow. So I thought
give me more Allison Brie all the time, though.
She's the best, right?
Oh, yeah.
What a cast. Go look at that cast. It's so good.
I love Kate Nash, too.
She's great. Kate Nash gets brought up in this interviews, too. So this probably was really fun to watch in the moment because they put the matches in and then they just sprinkled these interviews in. So it wasn't so interview heavy, and it was like a whole day marathon on Twitch or something like that, I guess.
Is that what it was?
That's okay.
So watching it like this, these interviews like this kind of sucks. To be honest, rough. They interviewed Godiva, Hollywood, and Johnny C. Johnny C was the announcer, took over for David McLean. Godiva
straight up left, right?
He quit.
Yeah.
They kind of talk about it for a minute. Godiva was Kate Nash's based off of Godiva. And Hollywood, there's a character that's not Hollywood. What's the character's name? It's not Hollywood. It's shit. I don't know, but she's a good character in the show. She's not called Hollywood, but based off of her. We start off talking to the girls about Mongo Guerrero, who trained them.
Mondo, right?
Mondo or Mongo? Mondo.
I think it's Mondo.
Mondo Guerrero. And they kind of go over like what in the show was accurate. And it seems like some of it's accurate and some of it's like a ton of like the personal interactions aren't accurate. Like obviously Godiva and Dave McClain did not have a relationship, but in the show, those characters have or is that guy supposed to be Dave McClain or is he supposed to be Johnny C?
Bash, I think, is supposed to be David McClain.
I think he's supposed to be David McClain, right?
Yeah.
So they don't have a relationship, but like they talk about when they like went into the costume room together, and that was in season 1, and they kind of like captured that moment. And they captured the tryouts. That was kind of how the tryouts went. They said like Hollywood says that they were set up on the bleachers and like they told them it was real wrestling, and like half the room just left.
Yep.
Similar to the show. They seem like some of them had more pro wrestling training than it seemed, because like Ivory was there. They never like to have that in the show, right? Because there's no Ivory character who actually knew how to wrestle and like did stuff later. It's just the one Mount Fiji.
The only one, their trainer, who Cherry or whatever.
Cherry's a stunt,
but she was a stunt woman. But she was the one who like had a clue how to like take a fall. But that was it.
Right. So, but a lot of them did only have. They were talking about how Hollywood and Godiva both had like gymnastic backgrounds and stuff like that. So I think that's why they were able to succeed in there. I thought it was weird. Godiva says she didn't come in until season 3, so she wasn't even there at the beginning. And Hollywood still wrestles, apparently. That was also something I was like, whoa, I've never heard her name ever.
Nope, I didn't either. But I think she said she did. What's the weird one where you can like pay them to do specific things for you?
Customs.
Yeah, I think she does that. Which, whatever, but.
Right. Sexy wrestling matches.
Yeah.
Sounded
like.
Yeah. I like this. Hollywood said when she got in her first match, she was against Ivory, who I forget what her name was in Glow. It's like Tina Ferrari, I think was her name.
Yeah, Tina Ferrari.
Tina Ferrari. So Ivory was like a no nonsense, like ass kicking wrestler, just straight up slapped Hollywood right across the face to start a match. Like this shit is serious. I did talk about how they did a lot of like the Nazi stuff early on. They had like the American Girl versus like the Nazis, and back at their like hotel room they had people had drawn Nazi symbols all over the pool or something like that. So like that shit was even going on then. One thing I thought was interesting is they did like the tapings, kind of like how Impact does them. They wrestle multiple matches in one day to try to tape as much TV as you can. So they were talking about how they had to wrestle 4 matches in one day, which is hard on the body, but even harder to remember all that shit and keep it straight. How do you keep each match straight other than like the finish? And I thought this was weird too. They said the shit wasn't even booked. It was who's versus who and who's winning, and that's it.
Yeah.
And these people
had count out or whatever.
That's hard. I mean, if you don't know how to wrestle and you're only like barely trained and you have to go out there and not saying they were
basically book it themselves,
right, like make a match out of nothing, like that's hard to do. So Glow host Johnny C, who
he was interesting.
He said he started women's wrestling. So Stephanie McMahon, you got somebody to sue and go after, because Johnny C says he started women's wrestling before even Glow.
He did Glow before Glow.
He did Glow before Glow. 3 years before.
He shows up on screen in a baby blue and pink suit or tuxedo. I actually am not sure.
Yeah.
And at first I thought it was funny until I realized he wasn't joking. That was just his look.
This is serious.
And then I was
what makes you think
out.
he was? Yeah, I thought he was playing into the character he used to play. You don't
I
think
think
that?
he's become the character. I think he literally lives the gimmick.
Okay.
That's
You
the
know,
impression that I got. Anyway.
So he doesn't have a Terry Bollea Hulk Hogan. Was that Terry Bollea that said that, or was that Hulk Hogan that said that?
Right.
Here, the most interesting thing about the entire interviews was this part where he said that he started women's wrestling, that he sued Glow.
Yeah. And then they brought him in.
He got a job out of it. How does that happen? Oh, this guy who's suing us might be a good announcer.
He totally glossed over it, really, though, because he was like, yeah, and then I saw, or I was told by a friend that this was going on, and I got together with my lawyer, and then I sued him, and then I was working with him the next year, and that was it. That's all he said about it. I was like,
how does that?
There's a story there, buddy. That's the one thing I want to know.
If anyone lawyers up against me, why am I then working with him? That makes no sense. But
because they told so many stories that had no point. There was a lot of talking with
talking that doesn't go anywhere, and a lot of beating around the bush. That was another thing about this that I didn't like. The interviewer's like trying to
terrible.
He was bad, but
he was not a good interviewer.
He was trying to get to like, you guys had drama like on the Netflix show, right? And they say
we all love each other,
but never go there. They're like, yeah, well, I had a problem with so and so, but it was all fine. Yeah. Like, this is pro wrestling. You're supposed to bury, like, shoot interview. Let's bury each other. Come on.
Yeah,
they're in a foxhole together.
You're in a foxhole together.
They said that probably like 25 times.
Johnny C in a foxhole with the writer of the show. He played, of course, a shady promoter on the show. Shocking. Yeah. It's like I would at the end of every show, I would end up not paying somebody and getting beat up at the end of every show.
Try to scam somebody out of some money, and they'd always beat me up every show.
Kind of funny. Godiva, she gets her one-on-one. She says that.
Oh God, she was terrible.
She eventually became a trainer. She came in season 3. Her friend was in season 1. She didn't even have to try out. Her friend just said, "Come and do it," and they just accepted her for whatever reason. And she had a British accent, so she talked about how she worked on her British accent and would like listen to dialect tapes to try to have a British accent. And she even does some like weird promos that are super awkward in between these interviews. They're like supposed to be bumpers for this marathon, but they're bad. It's like, where's my horse?
But that I feel like fits like what Glow was. Like I feel like that was true to the character or something.
Just like goofy vignettes or whatever.
Yeah.
She was incredibly full of herself as well. Like she was.
She said, I was great. About, oh man! From the first second I stepped in the ring, I was amazing.
Yeah.
Like, what are you about? She said she had the best entrance in the business because she came out on a horse.
Mm-hmm.
And so her and Hangman Page must have heat because he came out on a horse a few times, doing his cowboy shit. And then for some ungodly reason, they did like 12 segments with the 3 of them together. And it was rough. It was rough.
Sort of taking turns, but I couldn't tell the weird relationship that Hollywood had with Johnny C. Like, I guess they're just like pals, but
Godiva and Hollywood were best friends. They pretend like they're best friends.
Yeah, but I didn't feel it. Like, it kind of felt like they were lying about that.
Yeah, and they're like not going into detail. They're like some people.
Yeah,
there were some people that were problems, or like they talked about going to Tijuana the one time.
Yeah,
right. They were like, "Oh, we broke the rules." There was like rules, like curfews and stuff, like in the show. But they like talk about how they went out with all these guys and like, well, we can't talk about what happened or whatever. Like, Then just don't
And
say
why
it.
fucking bring it up? Yeah, like
Don't say it at all if you can't bring it up. And they talk about this. They said like anytime they're like, I don't know if they're kayfabing or what's going on here, but they're like, when we fought with the farmer's daughter, we really fought her. Like nobody liked her, and we really fought her. But then they don't go into detail about like why. It's like, oh yeah, we fought her. You did? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
there was a little bit about probing on that. Yeah, there was a little bit about like, oh, they were the good girls and we were the bad girls. But we actually didn't like each other. But was that just because you were?
It sounds like kayfabe to me.
Like, yeah.
Live that kayfabe.
They did talk about that, how they stayed in character all the time.
Right.
Like they didn't drop it.
Yeah, and I was just watching Roddy. I was talking about the A&E documentaries that they're doing. WWE's got some more money putting out their propaganda, but they had this whole thing on Roddy Piper I think it was a week ago, and it was talking about how much heat he got, that he was stabbed one time.
Damn.
I think more than once he was stabbed. So he started wearing Kevlar in his vest, like in his wrestling vest, so that if somebody tried to stab him, he would have a Kevlar protection in there. And how difficult it was. It was so like he was so hated that he couldn't bring his family to a show. Like he wouldn't do it. He would not do it. And he would leave them at home. And he's like Roddy Piper was like a famous good family man. Like even as fucked up and crazy as he was as a wrestler, he would like come home and not talk about it and like be just himself, whatever his real name was or whatever, Roddy Toombs or whatever his real name was. But how like he couldn't ever break character because people were just following him around trying to fight him everywhere he went. And that his whole routine when he came home was he would come home and stay in a hotel room for a day just to relax and like get healthy enough and sober enough to go home and be dad. Like he needed that like buffer to get back to his house because he was so crazy. Things were so crazy for him.
Makes sense.
So yeah. Apparently they were being chased similarly by their fans.
Creepy, yes. I bet. Maybe less grabby, more assaulty, but
they were like the Beatles. They were like the Beatles. I mean, we were like the Beatles. They had such high opinions of themselves. I was like, you guys are fucking fools.
The show was popular, but I don't know about Beatles popular.
I'm just going to go ahead and say no, it was not Beatles popular.
I don't think so. They admitted Mount Fiji is the icon of the show that everyone should remember. So that was good. They talked about, I just find this whole thing fascinating of like the disciplinary committee for the, instead of just like having a show and like live your lives and come to the show, they have like fines and curfews and all this shit. A disciplinary committee about, like where the girls would discipline themselves. Like what a weird thing. It's so bizarre. Godiva says she had to fake her accent everywhere she went, even in TSA. And then she did it in TSA and they were like, "You're not from England. What the fuck are you doing?" And she had to
trying to get like into Mexico with a British accent
and not an American like license and all
passport.
That. Passports. So she had to explain like, I'm on a show. I'm trying to not break character or something. I wrote a note here. They are holding back on all these stories because they talk about Tijuana and they kind of gloss over, oh, we shouldn't have gone, but we went. It was great, but can't tell you about it in these interviews, even though they're like 30 years later.
Yeah.
Just like, okay. Wrestling is like the one thing to me where these interviews are awesome because it's like you shoot in wrestling, you shoot, you just say shit. Like, who cares? And like, you figure it out later. There's so many shoot interviews that are like incredible. I could watch 5 hours straight of like Kevin Nash just burying Bret Hart. and trying to get his agenda over. I'm into it. Like, tell me all the dirt. Like, you guys are telling me nothing here. And this stuff is like 30 years old. Like, what are you gonna run into these people again? I guess
Yeah,
maybe.
it's not like it's still an ongoing thing.
Yeah.
But they were in the foxhole together, so
Right.
they're all.
So I guess
together.
because they're in the foxhole together, they're not going to bury each other. I don't know. They talk about, I didn't know this. Each Glow episode was completely self-contained, had nothing to do with the next one, because the Netflix show doesn't make it out to be that way. It makes it out to be like a storyline that runs through. But I guess that's not how the real show was. It was like
I could see it like
up at the end.
There's probably rivalries or whatever, but yeah, it wasn't necessarily the same storyline.
Right. Hollywood talks about how hardcore she was. She would run out before the match and hide shit under the ring, and then like surprise her opponent with all this shit, which makes you think also kayfabe. Like, you're not going to tell like so and so you need to be here so I can hit you with this.
Yeah, she said she loved the surprise.
Yeah. Girls would put matches together themselves. They talk about a match because he was like, have you ever been injured? And they both said no, but then they go into the story where Hollywood got completely knocked out and like could barely finish the match, but did finish the match. And then they're like, never hurt, but yeah, after that, like we were really hurt after the show or something. Like had all these injuries after the show, which are probably because of the show. And didn't somebody broke their leg in Glow, right?
She said it. I think she said it was like not wrestling related. Like, she again did not tell the story.
Right.
She just said, and then she went to her leg, and then the show ended.
Yeah, and then she went to a WWE like
a tryout, but with a broken leg.
And
then she tried to cover up a broken leg, and they didn't take her. Godiva said she was tossed off a horse, right? Like bucked off a horse into like the 8th row. Hollywood said talked about her boobs came out during a match and everybody was cheering, and Johnny C had to cover them up. They go into stuff like, oh, remember the Caribbean cruise match? But then they don't tell us anything about the Caribbean cruise match.
It was fun. Yeah, it was a fun match.
But I'm assuming we saw that in the marathon, maybe, and that's why they don't go into it. I was surprised that Hollywood was still wrestling. Very surprised.
Yeah. All indies, apparently.
Yeah. They talk about how they were shocked Glow was canceled because ratings were so good. They were on tour, and they thought they would go 10 seasons.
And then they sadly said
they thought they were going to be the next WWE.
Yeah.
Right. They compare themselves to WWE, and then they compare the Netflix show to them about how the Netflix show should be 10 seasons.
I can't wait to see where they do when they get past our 4 seasons.
Yeah. Like,
nope. It did not get there.
Sure
did not get there.
There's so many Netflix's like original run of shows had so many good ones that they just gave up on.
Yeah. They spend so much money on these things and then dump them. That's what Netflix does.
Before you got to pay the actors and actors.
Yeah, dump them before you got to get in real deep. Godiva says that she's a sommelier.
Level 1.
But not like a real good one. Just a sommelier.
She's a wine snob.
A wine snob. Sassy wine snob. You know how hard it is to be a sommelier? You ever watched Somme? The documentary about how you have to what you have to do to become a sommelier? It's crazy. No. You have to be able to like drink it and identify like where, like by taste, blind taste, where stuff was made. It's fucking very difficult.
That's crazy.
Very, very. And it's like, oh, well, that tastes like this kind of wood, and that means that tree is only growing in this part of the country, so it's got to be from here. That's
or you could do the Michael Scott.
Right.
This wine is a white wine when he's not wearing a blindfold.
Yeah. So I'm guessing she's not really a sommelier. But
well, she said she's level 1. There's like thousands of them. So okay, so So you pay somebody $50 to give you a gift certificate.
You paid your dues and now you're in.
Yeah.
But you haven't actually earned anything yet.
Yeah.
Of course, Johnny C is friends with Jimmy Hart.
Oh, right.
Naturally.
Absolutely. And Johnny C says he worked in WCW.
Yeah, he did say that.
He said that.
I
don't remember Johnny C in WCW. I don't know what he did there. Maybe he was Ralphus or something, and we. They talk about how they do a lot of conventions, and everybody loves them at the conventions because of the Netflix show. They talk about how they have lots of gay fans, and that this was
that was another thing.
Very arrogant statement of like, well, I mean,
we made it okay for gay people to come out.
To come out because
what the fuck?
Very brash statement there. I'm sure there's some connection there, but not all. I don't know. Very interesting.
Straight up, fuck them.
They talk about how Vince hated Glow and wouldn't let their wrestlers interact.
I believe it.
I believe as well, which led to a very funny interaction that Jesse the Body Ventura ran into somebody, and I think it was Hollywood, and she said, "We're not supposed to talk to you," and he goes, "Oh, we're not supposed to talk to you." She's like, "Well, I'm going to anyway." It's like, fuck it, yes, I am too. Of course, Jesse the Body's not going to listen to rules. Come on, he sued Vince. There's no way he's listening to Vince. So I thought that was funny, Jesse the Body. Captain Lou Albano was a big fan of Glow.
I can see that.
Yeah.
And then another interesting part, this dude who's interviewing, who's not good, apparently did an interview series with Captain Lou about the Super Mario Brothers cartoon, which Captain Lou was Super Mario. Did you remember that?
I did. I didn't remember that now.
Super Mario Brothers Super Show.
I think I knew that, but not remembered it.
And Captain Lou
that's what we're
was
watching
Mario.
Week, actually.
And then it would go into animation.
Yeah.
That's what we're watching next week. Is that what you just said?
Yeah. I wouldn't even know where to begin looking.
There's one with Sergeant Slaughter. I remember that.
I was Command, I believe, for the G.I. Joes.
I was like mind blown because he was in G.I. Joe wrestling and then was on Mario. It's like all my favorite things are in the one thing. This is so weird. I feel like my mind's gonna explode. Like wrestling, Mario, all this stuff in the same show. I had no idea Captain Lou was Mario too when I was a kid. I had no clue.
Idea.
No clue. But so he was a fan of Glow. They talk about the good girls versus bad girls, blah blah blah. Chavo Guerrero is a big fan. Because they're like, have you talked to anybody like involved with the show? Like, I would imagine somebody must have called you guys. I'm like, not really.
No.
Not really. Johnny C talked to a bunch of people. He said he talked to the creator, right?
Godiva reached out to
Kate Nash and
Kate Nash
Godiva.
reached out to her or something like that.
They made contact on Instagram the other way around.
Well, okay.
Yeah, Godiva reached out to Kate Nash, and Kate Nash was like, "Oh yes, I do love you." Like, okay, sure.
They talk about how they have Glow. No, go ahead.
Guess where we can find the Super Mario show?
Tubi.
Yep.
100%. I've watched it on there. Super Mario Brothers Super Show.
Yep.
And Sergeant Slaughter is one of the episodes. It's like the first one, I think. It's one of the first ones.
Yeah.
There might be other wrestlers on there.
If Lou Albano is on there, probably there are.
Right. They talk about how they would have Glow parties. So like the Glow wrestlers will watch Glow the Netflix show and have like a wine party. I'm assuming
Godiva. That sounds like fun.
Sommeliering that party. Is that a verb? Sommeliering? I don't know.
No, that's not a verb.
It's not a word.
I wouldn't be above watching Glow and drinking wine with you guys. I have no issues with
it. Yeah, you'd be the original Glow?
Any of them.
Oh, no.
Any Glows and drinking wine? Well, maybe when we get back to the basement, we can do that.
We can get real Waco wasted.
We can have some Franzia and watch Glow. They talk about how the sketches were like the best part, and they are very funny. They eventually got away from the sketches, or did they get away from the sketches, or they did more sketches? They did more sketches.
Well, they said that they think that was part of the issue
that led to David McLean quitting.
Yeah.
And they think he was right, and that that was how they connected.
Well, no, David McLean wanted
more wrestling, less sketches.
Yeah, less sketches. Right. And then he started POW or something like that.
POW, yeah.
And then she thinks that's what it was. That's why it didn't catch on, is because people watched it for like the entertainment, not so much for the wrestling.
Yeah.
Not just the wrestling.
Yeah. So that was the Glow interviews.
There were two other things that caught my attention as I watched.
Okay.
At one point, Johnny C, when he's talking about all the things he's doing, because he invents wrestling.
Right.
He's like, I'm currently working on a show with Brooke Hogan. And the guy was like, oh, okay, that'll be fun. And I thought, he
has no idea who Brooke Hogan was.
Legit, maybe he cringed a little bit. Nothing ever came of that, because that was supposed to be like her and Roddy's daughter or something, wasn't it?
Piper's daughter was in like the Mae Young Classic, wasn't she?
I don't know, but that show, I remember it being a big deal years ago when it was coming out, and then nothing ever happened with it.
Yeah, it's like the typical wrestling story.
The other thing was, clearly this guy has done interviews before, but he's not very good. I know that this is a thing people do, but how many times can you say to someone, in my mind, a good interviewer makes it a conversation?
Yeah, for sure.
How many times can you
talk to me about?
Talk about the time. Talk about it.
That's a terrible interview technique. That's a lazy interview technique, right?
And he did it a lot.
Because I don't think he knew anything about wrestling.
Well, he didn't know anything about wrestling, but he also didn't know anything about like interviewing people. He just like I could interview a wrestler and do a better job than he was doing.
Yeah. You would think he'd be a little more prepared, maybe. I don't know. It was weird.
Yeah.
Not well done, guys. Come on.
Yeah, didn't love it.
Did not love it. I don't know how long this was. I don't think it was that long.
What? Our talk about it?
This episode.
I feel like we gave it the time it deserves.
And we gave it the time it deserves. Bill, you're up next. Do you have anything?
Perhaps too much time?
Oh, do I have something? So there was a couple of things I was looking at, but that I could not find on an easily watchable thing.
Right.
And then I had to go back to our favorite world champion, one David Arquette.
Oh no.
WCW world champion.
Oh no. It's not who said he was our favorite champion?
We all separately have said that at some point or another.
I don't believe that's true at all. I don't think that's real.
He was.
So what are we watching?
A movie that can be found currently on Netflix. I made it easy.
Okay.
It's called Pee-wee's Big Holiday.
Seen it.
Oh yeah?
Is this the new Pee-wee?
It's 2016, I think.
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
That is
I just watched
recent to be making a Pee-wee movie.
It's Judd Apatow wrote it.
Because Paul Russ is in it. Your guy Paul Russ is in there.
Isn't what's his name too? Shit. I just watched this movie and I can't remember his name. Handsome hunk from many movies.
Oh, the Jack dude is definitely, he's a main part of it.
Yeah.
Manganiello.
Joe Manganiello.
Yeah,
he's very funny. I've seen it's good. I enjoyed it.
Oh,
my kid loved it. My kid thought it was very funny. He just for weeks would go, "Oh, Pee-wee." That's what he was. Remember when he was doing this? What? I don't get it. I don't understand. Yes, Pee-wee Herman has to leave whatever town Pee-wee Herman lives in. And he becomes friends with Joe Manganiello, who invites him to his birthday party. And Pee-wee has to do a cross-country road trip to go to Joe Manganiello's birthday party. That is the movie. And
what's the actual name again? Pee-wee's Holiday or something?
Pee-wee's Big Holiday.
Yes, Pee-wee's Big Holiday. It's on Netflix, 2016. Yep. It's 91 minutes, so it's not too long.
No.
Still sounds long.
Produced by Judd Apatow.
Seems
very funny.
Mixed, mostly fairly good reviews.
I think it's fine. it's not like earth shattering amazing, but if you like Pee Wee Herman, it's kind of gets to the point, and it's like so weird and cringy, and then it just like moves on to something else.
I feel like I'm gonna.
You're not
I
gonna
have
like
good
it.
memories of Pee Wee from a
Do
kid, but
you?
it's been a long time.
Yeah.
It's been a long time.
You're
so I
not
feel
gonna
like
like it.
I'm
sure.
going to hate it.
It's
And
a
it's
kid's
written
movie.
by Paul Rubens and Paul Rust, and I'm not a huge fan of either one of them. So
I like Paul Rust.
I like a little bit of Paul Rust, and then I hate Paul Rust sometimes too.
Well, you hate the show he was in. That doesn't have anything to do with. Did
But
he
also
write?
some of his if we stop we die or whatever.
Oh, I love that band.
Not great.
Don't stop or we'll die.
Yeah, not great.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, I'm surprised by that. I like those guys. All right, Pee Wee's Big Holiday. Is that like a spur of the moment? I thought you said you had something.
I had a bunch of other stuff,
So this is a spur of the
but
moment.
I couldn't find them readily available.
Okay.
And then I have something for when we're back in person too, but that'll wait till we're back in person.
What?
Oh yeah.
Whoa, that's a big tease.
Oh yeah.
That's coming soon.
So I hear.
2 weeks away. We're gonna be if you show up, we'll be in person. If not, maybe we'll be back on this. And I still got to figure out how to Last Supper video it. Like that's gonna be weird because Mike's gonna be
That wide fish angle lens.
yeah, Mike's gonna be on camera and we're gonna be in the back in the basement. Can I throw will the green screen fit behind us? I could make like a funny
Probably
green
Wait,
screen.
that's not actually Bret Hart behind you?
Oh, sorry. Yes, I'm in the Alps.
Bret's
All
been
right.
just waiting this whole time.
You've been waiting for him to interact. He's just been
No,
quiet.
he's been waiting for you very patiently.
No, he's waiting for me to continue our hike. Yes, that's it. All right. That's it. Peace out. We'll see you next week.